Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Father.
I do not know whether Father Ting has left that picture that I wanted. Okay, there. You see that picture? What do you think is that? It's a hunting painting by the French painter Jacques Joseph or James Tissot. Tissot. So James Tissot, a French painter. And the title of that painting that you see is The Blessed Virgin in Old Age. The Blessed Virgin in Old Age. It was painted in 1896. And what does it portray? If you could look at it closely, you see there Mary. Mary, many years after the crucifixion, death, and resurrection of Jesus, she returns to Calvary and prays before the spot where the cross of Jesus stood, near the place where she and the disciples stood. You look at that is Calvary, and then there's that hole where the cross was planted. Today, if you go to the Holy Land, do not fail to go to Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, go to the Old City. And you will find there the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And there you find, of course, the tomb where Jesus rose from the dead. But then, right there at the entrance, when you enter the door, right at the right side, you would find there stairs leading to Calvary, which is already inside the church. And then under an altar there at the center, you would find the rock. And you could put your hand into the rock and you will find that hole. The hole where the cross was planted. Well, today, in the 8th day of the Novena, as I have been told, we celebrate or we think about the virtues of Mary, in particular this virtue of suffering, paghihirap, pagdurusa, suffering. And so I was reminded of this painting. Of course, the Lord already rose and then He already ascended into heaven, and Our Lady in her old age looked upon Calvary once again. From John chapter 19, verses 25 to 27, we read, standing by the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary of Magdala. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple there whom he loved, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her into his home. One thing that we never miss in the popular portrayals of the Passion of Jesus is the presence of Mary. Nandun lagi yung mahal na ina. Why? It's ironic because Mary is mentioned in the Passion narratives only in the Gospel of John, the one that we have read a while ago in this homily. She appears in the scene of the crucifixion and death of Jesus. And the words of Jesus were, "Woman, behold your son. Son, behold your mother." Pag nakikinig kayo ng 7 palabras, those are always among the words of Jesus, one of the 7 last words. In the Jewish custom, the woman has always a man who would be her guardian and protector. In her childhood, she has her father. When she is an adult, she has her husband. In her old age and widowed state, she has her son. In the death of Jesus, he would be leaving Mary without anybody to protect her. Thus, he assigns the disciple, the one particularly close to him, to take his place, to accompany her and make her his own mother. And we read further, and from that hour, the disciple took her to his home. Sabi ng mga Bible scholar, no, that the hour, which we have read in today's gospel, that may take 2 meanings. Pwede natin sabihin temporal, no? It's the R, no? Temporal, because that is from that particular time. So from that time, when Jesus presented Mary to be the mother of the disciple, or maybe it could even be more dramatic and theological. It's not only from that time, but because of that time, because Jesus said that Mary would be the mother of the disciple, it's because of that R. That's why, because of this R, the beloved disciple and Jesus' mother became one. And as I said, it's one of the 7 last words. Woman, behold your son. Son, behold your mother. When you say behold, we hear that in the Mass, behold the Lamb of God. When we say behold, it is a revelation. Heto siya, no? Nung sinabi ni Jesus, woman, behold your son. Woman, eto yung anak mo. And then, anak, eto yung iyong ina. And so we have here presented a new relationship, a new family, where there is mother and son. Because of the cross, and from the moment of the cross, a new family has been created. Alam niyo, this is very significant when we read that passage. Why? Anong tawag ni Jesus kay Mary? Woman, behold your son. He uses that word, gunai in Greek, woman, in addressing women in his ministry. Para bagang in the modern sense, pwede mo sabing madam or ma'am. No? For his mother, Jesus uses the address twice. Saan yun? Sa Gospel of John. Where do we find the first mention of that? There are only 2 times she is mentioned in John's Gospel. And in both cases, he calls Mary, his mother, woman. Where was the first one? In Cana, in Galilee. In the first sign that he performed. And this is what he said. Woman, how does your concern affect me? My hour has not yet come. So that's the beginning of the ministry. And then the next time he calls her woman was the time he hung on the cross. Woman, behold your son. Yes, the first time his hour had not yet come. The second time, it was his hour. And Mary was there at the beginning and at the end. I see many women among you. Sino mas malakas, yung babae o yung lalaki? Ha? Sino? Women are strong. No? I do not have any statistics at hand, but it is common knowledge that women seem to live longer than men. And this is not a mere reflection of physical health, but that physical health may be a reflection of the inner strength of the woman. Sabi nung kaibigan kong doktor, women have a higher tolerance of pain. And this quality of strength we attribute also to Mary. Every year on September 15, we celebrate the memorial of the 7 sorrows of our Blessed Mother. The flight to Egypt, the prophecy of Simeon, the losing of Jesus in the temple, the meeting of the mother and son in the way to Calvary, the crucifixion and death of Jesus, and then Mary receiving the body of her dead son in her arms, and then the burial of Jesus. These were terrible moments for Mary, and she had to be strong to bear all these. She was there near her son, sharing in his sufferings, keeping all these things in her heart. And yet she stood on, weeping, but undaunted because she had this God-given strength. And this strength is possible because of a force guiding it. For mothers, it is the love for her children that strengthens her and makes all difficulties seem trivial. For most women, it is the thought of their roles that make them progress in this gift. In the case of our Blessed Mother, It was her deep faith in God and love for her son that prompted her to move on bravely, despite the hardships that accompanied being the mother of God. And this powerful passage of Mary at the foot of the cross gives us the link between Mary and the passion and death of Jesus. The passion of Christ is the passion of Mary. We can only be strong when our actions are done for a reason. We can do something about this. The first is to consider Mary's strength as an example for each one of us. Everyone has a share of the hardships that the world endures. We all experience difficulties in one way or the other. The example of Mary can help us as we go through all these in faith. The second is to ask our Blessed Mother herself that she may always be our help in difficult times. Kaya nga yun yung title niya, Mary, Our Help. Back in 2020, at the height of the pandemic, I was listening to a recollection given by, I think, Lingayen Dagupan, no? Archbishop Soc Villegas. And this is what he said. Ito yung pabaon ko sa inyo, no? Pain is part of humanity, and pain is part of loving. Don't be afraid to get hurt. Just be afraid of not loving enough. I say it in Filipino, no? Yung sakit o yung pagpapakasakit, bahagi yan ng pagiging tao natin. At yung sakit na yan, that pain, no? Bahagi yan ng pagmamahal. Kaya huwag kang matakot na masaktan. Matakot ka kapag hindi ka nagmahal. And there's the rub. Why can we endure pain? Bakit natin nababata yung paghihirap? Kasi nagmamahal tayo. Yung ating mahal na ina, nabatan niyan lahat yan. Bakit? Kasi mahal niya si Jesus. Mahal niya ang Diyos at mahal niya ang sangkatauhan. I repeat, we can endure pain because we love. God bless us all.